Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 10 US Destroyer. Gearing, it has 6 main guns, 10 torpedoes, 30 AA guns, a surface detection of 5.9 kilometers, top speed 37.8 knots, total health 23,400. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase main battery accuracy, rate of fire, reduce the chance of flood and fire, faster rate of shift, concealment. For my commander, situation awareness, basic firing training, last stand, superintendent, survival expert, and concealment again. We are on the map Two Brothers, and with the Soviet cruiser preview, we've kind of missed out on destroyers and battleships. Well, we're going to watch the gearing, and then we're going to watch an Iowa game, because I really do want the channel to maintain some level of variety. I have some aircraft carrier games that are worth sharing, and those will see the light of day, just not today. We're at A, attempting to send torpedoes at the Otago. He's moving towards A. He is not the one preventing our capture. It's a destroyer, of course. There are 4 on the enemy team, and so far we've only seen 1 on the map. Enemy battleship in the background. Don't have range on him. Honestly, I'm trying to bait out a destroyer. We had the aircraft that were going to scout us out. I'm trying to take all of the heat away from my friend. Now you might call me crazy, but I have defensive fire. I want them to try and attack us. No, we get 1 torpedo on the Otago, which is great. And they are baited into attacking my ship rather than the friendly. So it worked out beautifully. And I think both the dive and the torpedo attack were unsuccessful. I choose to use my smoke. We've got to be careful, right? We don't want to take broadside from an Otago. He did sustain a torpedo strike. We hit someone else. I don't believe it was the Otago that we got the second torpedo hit on. But we were scouting for ourselves. The friendly, Shimakaze, he is also in his own smoke. And I'm asking, please give me some indicator of what's going on. The enemy destroyer has sent his torpedoes, but we have yet to see him. He could be a figment of my imagination. He's not. And I don't really know what kind he is. There's not really a tell. So I fired on the Otago. We did get a fire, which is great. We know he had to use damage control to stop the flood. So the fire is going to be susceptible. In that Baltimore, he's using the smoke circle. 100%. He's firing directly in the center. He hit me at a range of 11 kilometers. It gives you a lot of information, and right now it is a legal mod designed and built by Wargaming. They want to test it out, and I'm sure some of you have seen it on other YouTubers or other streamers. I, however, do not want to use something that does not exist in the base game. It is an advantage, but if the smoke was more obvious, the exact area it covers, then we wouldn't need a circle on the ground to tell the team where the smoke begins and ends. I don't really mind it. It's not a huge deal. If you were a super precise player, you could also aim at that exact location. It's just helping with the math, basically. We've got to give ground, though. We don't want to stay within detectability. The aircraft are either attempting to keep us spotted, or they are accidentally keeping us spotted. Either way, it's not working out in our favor. We have no support on this flank. I'm just trying to run. I'm running as fast as I can. I don't want them to catch me. Torpedoes are back up. And who should I send them against? Of course, every target is within range. But where are they going to go? Are they going to go for the Shimakaze? Is there a threat of an aircraft attack on them by my teammate? No, of course not. Look at where it is. He's attacking the enemy aircraft carrier. So with that in mind, they have no reason to change their course suddenly. I can't tell you how many times I've sent torpedoes and an aircraft carrier has come and blown it all up because there's an aircraft. I have to maneuver for it. Well, you just made them move out of my torpedo strike. So I'm going to send it against the Hindenburg. He's moving left to right, west to east, and I don't think he's going to change his direction. He is definitely headed towards C. And the style, I figured He's about max speed. I want to lead him a little bit. And I think I let him a little bit too much, because he is at max speed, but we will get at least a torpedo. But we gave just a little bit too much lead. He could fit in, only took one torpedo. Causes a flood, gonna force out damage control. And it's okay. It could have been better. It could have been better. We have the right idea, just need to execute it better. Anytime you send torpedoes and they don't work out, you always second guess. But I think it's sound. I think the logic is sound. But what isn't sound is this threat that is on sea and the aircraft carrier. We cannot allow the enemy to move without any opposition. They will just run over my team. We are tied with the enemy team. We're down by a couple points, not too much. But for now, sea is wide open. There are only 2 cruisers and a battleship visible at A. We know there's way more than that, right? Of course. So what I'm going to try to do is put myself in position to be in range, gun range, of the enemy Hindenburg. We're going to pop smoke and we're going to fire on his position. Since I was behind an island and still saw him, I know that a friendly is actively scouting him. I will be able to fully engage this target, not have to worry about denying my own information. And you need to keep that in mind when you use smoke. So we started with HE, we swapped to AP since he's broadside, and we're doing okay. I need to lead the target a little bit more. We want it on the superstructure. You notice we're basically plunging fire. We're not going to have a lot of opportunities to get it over in the deck area, but what we will have is the ability to land it on that soft middle section of all these ships. They've all got a soft part just right for plunging. It won't be a citadel, but it will give you consistent AP damage, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now, he's a little bit closer, so I drop it down just a little bit, and it's pretty intense, the amount of damage you can rack up, especially when they don't maneuver at all. And a couple ricochets, unfortunately, friendly finishes off the target, but we've got an enemy destroyer, and he's scouted out by the friendly aircraft. I am not actively scouting, and yep, it drops off. We need the aircraft to stay in the area, and I was considering, this destroyer knows I'm here. He's going to send his torpedoes. We cannot afford to not move. And I'm going to be scouting for my team. I do run the risk of taking damage, and we do force out smoke. Probably any second now we should expect, and look at it, the amount of damage he's taking. But he's pretty healthy. He has come to a complete stop. Any second, yeah, there are the torpedoes. Any second, those torpedoes, those nasty torpedoes, they were sent at my last known position before I revealed myself. So it is good that I moved. And he had enough time to send out another set. He held on to it. But we know 2 sets have been used. That's all. That ship has no other sets. It's not a Shimakaze. We can aggressively attack the destroyer, push him out of the capture point. We do know he is in the capture point. So I'm moving towards him. I have defensive fire. I want to take out the scouter plane that is a remnant of the cruiser that was killed. If we can take it out, that's a lot of information that he is not going to have. And of course, he's going to knock out our propulsion. Why not? We got a bonus. Our front gun is completely destroyed, so he can't even take it out. It's already been taken out. The aircraft is gone, and now we're detected because we're just so close. And immediately go to the center, knock out propulsion. I'm going to work on the gun turrets that are trying to take us out. We do completely destroy one. I would love to get that other one, but I'm just missing the point. Doesn't matter, destroyer down. And with the destroyer taken out, his team has no information. I wanted to send against the Baltimore. I figured, how is he going to know that I could attack him? Some unique event happened in this game. A destroyer, an enemy destroyer, bypassed C, went through the gap, and tried to protect B for his team. How often does that happen? And look at what happens here. This Baltimore, I don't know what he's reading, but I would love to get a copy, because he knows what's coming, or at least he turned with perfect precision to avoid the torpedoes. We're not going to get a single one. And to just grind my gears even more, he's going to turn back towards, he's going to turn back towards the direction. He wants to get his guns involved to try and take out the friendly Hindenburg. I don't want that. Nobody wants that on my team. We got to keep him alive. There's only 2 destroyers and that cruiser here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pop my smoke and I'm going to fire HE. Why HE? He's got an angle and I feel like it would be too harsh for the AP to penetrate successfully. And he's actually trying to make it even harder for me. He has committed to going directly at my ship. Why not? I just used my torpedoes. There's no way they could possibly be back up. And that would be the case. But I have considered a torpedo build, and this is the guy. This is the guy with the smoke mod. And look at the advantage it gives. It really does give you an advantage. You have a general idea of where to aim. And, you know, it feels like it should be in the game, considering the buff it gives. Look at this guy. He's going to pull a Notser, though. So, I don't really care that he has a little bit more information than the average player. Look at the damage we can rack up. Just make sure, really, Shimakaze? I'm going to have to move. I don't want to take this torpedo. We're just going to edge just a little bit forward. Torpedoes are almost up. Okay, we're good. Continue the barrage. We haven't been spotted. I'm going to try and send my torpedoes. Ah, it's so annoying. He has extra information. Alright, well that's fine, that's fine. We're still alive. We're still doing a lot of damage. And he has committed to moving forward. Oh, gosh. Barely alive. But we're still alive. We can watch you go to the bottom of the sea. Whoa, yeah, break his back. That feels so good, considering this target was very successful in blind firing into smoke. I just hate it. I hate it. Radar's going to be here. He doesn't even need radar. He was hitting me more often than I have ever hit anyone in smoke before. Now, there's a North Carolina. There's an enemy destroyer at B. And there's an enemy cruiser north of A. I'm going to go for A. I don't really have the health to risk taking more damage. The only thing I can really do for my team is attempt a capture. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And our ship, predictably, looks like it's been through hell. But I wouldn't want it any other way. I just love playing destroyers like this. There have been a lot of destroyers in my top tier games. They are terrifying. I'm trying to play battleships. I'm trying to play Shimikazes. Nobody wants to fight destroyers. You need those gearings. You need the Habarosks. You need the Des Moines. I really love playing my Des Moines when there's 5, 6, 7 even. Yes, I was in a game with 7 enemy destroyers. You just feel like it's cheating. So if you have a Des Moines, it's the best time to pull it when you see a lot of destroyers in that queue. And the game's basically over. I hope you enjoyed seeing the gearing. The gearing, of course, is a breakneck player. You want excitement, you play as the gearing. It will always be exciting because you're on the edge of dying. Now, we only got 2 kills, but I felt like they were 2 really high quality kills. We basically protected our team's victory. So 2 kills, 3 fires. We had 4 torpedoes make contact, 3,134 base XP. That's because we played the objective and it was a flank with not a lot of protection. We did around 135,000 points of damage between all sources. And that is the US Destroyer in a nutshell. It's always entertaining. Even playing it, I am tense. I am just sitting there on the edge. But now let's go to the Iowa. The Iowa has 9 main guns, 20 secondary guns, 116 AA guns, a surface detection of 12.5 kilometers, top speed 30.5 knots, total health 79,000. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase AA range, increase main battery accuracy, reduce the chance of flood and fire, faster rudder shift, concealment. For my commander, situation awareness, basic survivability, faster turret traverse, superintendent, manual AA, and concealment again. We are on the map north, and I'm considering swapping out manual AA for the range increase. I really feel like the range gives you a higher overall DPS. So we've got a New Orleans. He doesn't know we're here. We're still not scouted, and we're gonna fire at the waterline, and that's the first time he's gonna know that there's a giant battleship right in front of him. And oh, he felt that one. 23,000 points of damage. That poor cruiser. We also successfully captured the base with the help of our little buddy. And you don't want to do this without the help of a little buddy. If a destroyer chose to go down this flank, and there is a Fletcher, of course, big jerk. But if they decide to go down a flank, they could choose to never show themselves. And you're pretty much dead in the water. It's very hard for a battleship to close the distance, unless, of course, that destroyer makes a huge mistake. And the New Orleans is barely alive. I want to kill him. He's taking advantage of his teammates' smoke, and the Fletcher, probably frustrated, maybe he predicted I would move, he sent out his torpedoes. And they were not successful. Both of them missed, except the Benson, for whatever reason, takes a huge torpedo. Our AA takes out the spotter plane. And there's the New Orleans. Okay, well, he's staring down the gun barrel, and we take him out just barely. We could have aimed that a little bit better, but at least he's dead. There's also a Nagato in the area, tier 7 Japanese battleship, and I really don't want to go forward. I would love for the cruiser or the destroyer to scout out that Fletcher. I'm going to 100% work on this battleship. He's showing a perfect broadside. Our guns are almost up, and I choose to fire as he's turning away. How much damage are we going to get? Okay, 19,000. I'll take that. I angle, of course, to get the back guns in, and 5,800. That's okay. Considering the angling, it worked out just fine. The Fletcher is nowhere to be found, though. He could be anywhere. He could be all the way outside of the fight, or he could be right in front of us. I don't think he is, though. He's been silent too long. And I'm just waiting. Are you going to soften your angle up more? He doesn't, and look at the result. Absolutely no damage. It ricochets off. Now, he does eventually soften the angle, allow us to do a little bit of damage. Not enough to kill, but he's certainly wounded, and this prey is not going to get away. We've got 8 more seconds. There's no way he can round that island in time to prevent his death, and someone's at sea. It must be that Fletcher. That was my first instinct, and we, of course, fire. We take out the enemy battleship. My first instinct was the Fletcher was gone for a really long time. He had to be the player that went all the way around in order to try and capture C. So that's where we're headed. We're going to go for C. We got a couple cruisers that are committed going south. However, I think the New Orleans is trying to turn back. So is the Otago. Okay, everyone wants to go back. So I'm going to head for the gap. As insane as that sounds, I'm near full health. I would not recommend this at all, but I'm just too impatient to go the long way. I'm going to go the short way. I'm going to risk taking torpedoes, but I'm also going to try and scout them out with my aircraft. And before we get there, I'm going to have to dodge both the Otago and the New Orleans. I'm going to turn away, and it sort of made an N or a Z or Z. It's Z to me. And okay, so I think they're going to go through the gap. That's what it looks like they're going to do. Enemy Hatsuharu is visible for a split second, and then he's actually visible. The Loeyang is going to try and take him out. He definitely has the advantage in gun systems. But can he avoid torpedoes? They are point blank. Nope. Okay, the Hatsuharu's dead. That Fletcher was visible for just a split second. The Otago's thinking twice about going through the gap. And I was also reconsidering where I wanted to go. I would like to prevent the Fletcher from getting away. Well, the Otago's doing that, and it looks like the Fletcher's torpedoes will be unsuccessful. So I'm actually going to head through the gap. I reconsidered after considering the reconsider, and I think the soundest strategy is to head through a very narrow gap and attempt to ambush. Yes, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you've ever seen the Iowa or the Missouri or any Iowa-class battleships go through the Panama Canal, you will think it looks ridiculous as well. There are a mere inches, centimeters, from touching the Panama Canal walls. That was the limiting factor of our battleships, for those who don't know. Speaking of battleships, we have the Montana now, and I have a great game in it that I will share. And I was looking at the model, going, man, this looks exactly like the Iowa. What have they changed? Of course, it has another gun turret, obviously, and it looks like the superstructure has been moved forward. It's the same length. All they did is extend out the widest point a little bit further towards the bow to give it a little bit extra room for those 4 gun turrets. It still could fit through the Panama Canal, which is really cool. So we're just about ready to go after this Fletcher. We've journeyed through the center of the earth and we have made it out. And of course, he sends torpedoes right as we get through, but they're not meant for us. They're meant for that New Orleans. Ooh. Man, 100-0, gone. But the Fletcher is now visible. He's being scouted by the friendly cruiser, I believe. And we're going to try and unload our AP, do as much damage as we possibly can. We land 3 shots, and he's gone. Oh, he's back. Barely alive. Dang it. He's going to be killed by someone else. Who's going to get the kill? Oh, 39. Is he able to take him? Yeah, he takes out the Fletcher. And I'm pretty confident he has not sent torpedoes towards my ship. I only saw 1 set, but there's no way he had the angle to engage. Now, I could continue through the north side of the map, but I felt like all my team is going on the north side. I want to actually fight players that the team is not going to engage. I'm going to go south. And I don't want to touch the Benson because he's going to just break if I get anywhere near him. So we've got a New Orleans in sight. We don't know anything else. There is a lot of enemy ships still alive. And oh, a Mogami. A juicy Mogami at 7,800 hit points. It would be terrible to see you die, Mogami. And we're going to lead the Mogami. I think I led him pretty good, but I don't think I killed him. No. Wow, straddle the target. Really? Really? That dispersion. He disappears. He doesn't fire. What? Did he really? He chose to fire on my position. He chose to fire on my position at 7,800 hit points. Okay. Well, I'm not going to refuse the offering for your life. The dispersion looks pretty good, but he's able to avoid most of the damage. I need to slow down. I'm going to come to a stop, or at the very least, I don't want to have the island get in the way before I can fire one more time on the Mogami. Of course he fires. He sets us on fire. It's only 1 though. I'm going to let it burn. We're almost ready to go. I think we won't clip. Yeah, we don't clip. We're good. Is this enough to finish him off? Yeah, it was worth it. It was the perfect strategy. Nothing could have been better. Well, now we got to get moving, because I don't want to stay stationary. That is only inviting the enemy to land citadels and eventually kill us. So we're going to move past the island. For whatever reason, the Benson is not moving. Either he disconnected or he decided the game is going to end. Why bother playing the ship? So I've got an island in the way. The New Orleans chooses to use the aircraft. He knows where we are, but of course, our AA is so powerful, it immediately takes it out. The last known position, I was headed south, right? Since he got that information, I'm going to head north. I feel like he wants to counter me and keep the island in between his ship and mine. He shouldn't know this is happening. The only giveaway is the aircraft, but it's loosely circling my ship. It could be going in a different position than probably he is expecting. But I think he's caught on. He's angling his ship. He's not headed straight towards sea. Maybe he felt like, I should see this guy eventually. Why don't I see him? And you should see me, unless I'm trying to trick you into showing a perfect broadside with AP loaded. Oh, it's just so glorious. He's only 5 kilometers away. Really? Only 8,100? No citadels? 3 of the shells hit the water before it even made contact with the ship. Real annoying. We're just gonna have to wait on a reload. And I was considering the ram kill, but I don't think he's gonna let me ram him. It's just as satisfying to citadel a cruiser at super close range. I just love it. We're ready to fire, and we unload. We completely destroy him. That's how it should have looked the first time, but at least we eventually got the kill. So, close quarter medal, 4 kills, 3 citadels. We assisted in capturing a base. We earned 2,092 base XP. And I felt really satisfied with the decisions that we made. We were in position to counter the enemy every single time. We did just over 100,000 points of damage. Just a solid display of how to play the Iowa. I hope you enjoyed both of these games. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.